Tonight you will lie down, lose consciousness, and stay that way for about 8 hours. You will not be able to defend yourself. You will not notice anything approaching. You will do this again tomorrow and every night for the rest of your life. Roughly a third of it spent switched off. Evolution is ruthless about waste. Anything this expensive should have been stripped out millions of years ago. It never was. Almost everything alive still does it. Which means sleep is buying something so valuable that no animal has ever been able to stop paying. And here is the first surprise. You would assume sleep is something brains do. It isn't. Look at a jellyfish. No brain, no central nervous system, just a loose net of nerves drifting in the water. And it sleeps. Around 8 hours a day, usually at night. It slows down. It stops responding properly, and if you keep waking it up, it sleeps longer afterwards to make up for it. That is not rest. That is sleep, by every test we have. Jellyfish are the oldest creatures we know of that need it, which flips the question completely. Sleep is not something the brain invented. Sleep is older than the brain. Whatever it's for, it was already essential before there was anything to think with. Now look at what happens to animals that genuinely cannot afford to switch off. A dolphin has to surface to breathe. Fall fully unconscious in open water and you drown. So evolution had an obvious option: get rid of sleep. It did not take it. Instead, it did something far harder. A dolphin sleeps one half of its brain at a time. One hemisphere shuts down, the other stays awake, keeps swimming, keeps surfacing, keeps it alive. Then they swap. Birds do the same thing, with one eye open, watching for predators. Sit with that for a second. Faced with a choice between dropping sleep and building a brain that can sleep in halves, evolution built the halves. It would rather redesign the machine than skip the maintenance. So what on earth is the maintenance? Here is the honest answer, and it is stranger than you would expect. After more than a century of research, there is no single agreed reason. Not one. We have several strong candidates and no winner. But in 2012, one of them got dramatically more interesting. A team at Rochester, led by Maiken Nedergaard, found something in the brain that nobody had properly described before. Plumbing. An actual network of channels that pushes fluid through brain tissue and carries the waste out. They called it the glymphatic system. Your brain is about 2% of your body and burns roughly a fifth of your energy. Anything running that hot produces rubbish. Every other organ has the lymphatic system to take it away. The brain, it turned out, has its own private version, and that version has a schedule. They measured the flow in mice that were awake and in mice that were asleep. Awake, clearance was minimal, barely moving. Asleep, it ran roughly 10 times faster. The same brain, the same fluid, the only variable was consciousness, which suggests something almost embarrassingly simple. The brain cannot run at full power and clean itself at full power at the same time. It has to pick, and every night it picks cleaning, by switching you off to do it. Now, I want to be careful here, because this is where a lot of explanations overreach. The plumbing is not the whole answer. It is the newest and the most striking piece, not the settled verdict. Sleep also appears to be when memories get sorted and filed, when cells carry out repairs they cannot manage while working, and when the immune system does some of its heaviest lifting. Sleep is probably not one job. It is the night shift, and several different crews come in. But if you want to know how essential it is, the clearest evidence is what happens when it stops. In 1983, rats kept from sleeping died. Not weakened, died. Within 2 to 4 weeks, their organs were visibly wrecked. In humans, there is a disease called fatal familial insomnia. An inherited fault destroys a small region deep in the brain, and the person progressively stops being able to sleep. There is no treatment. It is always fatal. And even now, specialists do not fully agree on what finally kills them. So we are in an odd position. We do not have one clean answer for what sleep is for, but we know it is older than brains. We know evolution rebuilt animals rather than give it up, and we know that taking it away kills, and you cannot get around it. You cannot save it up in advance. You cannot borrow against it without paying interest. You cannot hand it to someone else. It is one of the very few things left that no amount of money or technology lets you skip. The most complicated object we know of in the universe sits inside your skull. And to keep working, it has to be shut down and rinsed out every single night. Tonight it will happen again. You won't decide to. You'll just stop, and something will get to work. If you want more questions like this one answered simply, subscribe. New episodes every week.